You just left the stage
Yes.
at Southbound.
Yes.
What do you hope people took away from your talk?
Okay. First off, it is crazy that in college, if we studied business, we probably had a class about how to recognize and account for our revenue. And yet there isn't a single class on how to scale your revenue. It's absolutely absurd. It's known as a feeling. It just doesn't have the codification. So I hope that our audience took away a framework on how to use science to figure out how fast to scale and when to scale. The other thing that they took away was I also find it absurd that 100 times more talent, capital, resources, effort are being put into building AI and not understanding the societal impacts. AI will make society better, but with a cost. Just like social media, just with the internet. We have to do a better job. We as the tech community need to step up and better balance our building of AI with helping society to understand the implications.
Would you say that it's fair to say that we've been preparing for AI for many, many years? So thinking about just like the cognitive decline of, I remember when Word came out and all of a sudden Word was checking your spelling. And I remember teachers in school being like, I don't want you guys using Word. I want you to come to the board and write just to see if I know how you can still spell. So it's like we've almost been preparing for kind of where we're at today. That's not as big of a societal impact, but I'm curious your take on that. Have we been preparing all along the way?
Yeah, I probably have a contrarian view on this. Is I'm not concerned actually about what people perceive as being lazy. I think it's a little crazy that a large percentage of students still learn penmanship in elementary school, but not how to code. I think that's a little crazy. I don't think it prepares our youth as well as we could. So I'm probably on the other end of the dimension is as long as they know how to use the calculator to do the math and can get the right answer, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
And as long as they can use the LLM appropriately to get to the right output, I'm fine with it.
So you're not worried about how they get the answer as long as they get the answer?
No, exactly. And I'd actually prefer that they use AI. I think it will prepare us better. I love the U.S. mission around human rights and freedom. I think we don't do it perfectly, but of all the countries out there, we do it pretty well. We've implemented that with a certain democracy and a certain economic structure of capitalism. And I fear that that form of capitalism is not compatible with the AI era. And there's not enough being done to figure out that compatibility to preserve the mission of the United States.
Which is?
Freedom and human rights.
Okay.
And so, I don't know, it's just crazy that, and again, this is not me, Harvard professor, stage 2 capital, venture capital. This is me, citizen of the US, earthling, speaking, which is we created this economic form of work from 22 to 65, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, 2 weeks vacation, retire when you're 65. We strive for 2% GDP growth and 4% unemployment. Where did that come from? And that hasn't led to maximum happiness. And we have an opportunity to have it all in that construct with AI. We have an opportunity to work less, have more fulfillment in our life, have a safety net of free healthcare, of a better standard of living if we're unemployed, better food situation, and lower taxes, and a smaller government. We can have it all. But there's just not enough effort being put into helping society evolve to that new era.
To be able to actually leverage AI for those solutions.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's we're heading down a path of massive unemployment, massive depression, economic stability. It's not, unless we intervene, it could do that.
So what do you think intervening looks like?
If you know economics, you know that pivotal work was The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith hundreds of years ago. It probably was perceived as quite crazy then. His basic premise was if you open up the free market and let people work through free will and somewhat be selfish in their desires, that would elevate all of humanity. I bet people thought that was crazy. Because we were living in a king and queen time. It's you're going to empower people to vote and be free like this? It'll never work. It worked beautifully. to like significantly increase the standard of living in humans. But he even admits that over time it would run its course and you'd see diminishing returns. And that has happened. There's been factual research that shows that the diminishing returns of that form of capitalism has dropped. So we need a new Adam Smith and we need a new Wealth of Nations. We need our philosophers to step up. We need our new forward-thinking politicians and leaders to bring us into that era.
Are you our new Adam Smith?
Definitely not. Definitely not. I know what my gifts are. If they doubled the salary of president and offered it to me, I would do a crime in order to avoid the post.
100%.
It's not what I'm called to do, but I hope to aspire people who have those talents to understand that they're needed right now.
So let's talk to our audience of go-to-market leaders.
Yeah.
And
We got a little off tangent there a little bit.
But it's a beautiful tangent because I think we're all carrying the weight of AI. And from the, like, I'm going to lose my job, or
Yes.
I'm not doing it good enough for my existing job, or the demise of humanity as we know it.
Yes.
How should we be thinking about it to honestly help support where we're at, but also address some of the things that you're talking about, which is so much bigger than just our day job?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I've been thinking about this is you never want to bring a technology into market that hurts society. And so we're in the infancies of this, and I would say the guidance is basic. It's just do those thought exercises. And when you dig into it, it's quite a challenge because on one hand, you would argue, let's just slow it down and figure it out. But we have this sort of like two-faced battle. We have like a military battle and an economic battle. And if we slow down, we open the door for other societies, other groups who don't believe in human rights and freedom to kind of win that war, which would compromise our first principle of freedom. So we do have to go really fast. But at the same time, we have to kind of like build the plane while we're flying it. And so I just encourage people to have that mindset of like, you do have to go fast. You do have to relearn your process. You need to bring this stuff to market quickly, but make sure in the back of your head, you invest time in how you can contribute towards society's involvement to adapt well to this new era as well.
Well, it makes me think of like, people, medical profession doctors, their oath is do no harm.
Right.
And I almost feel like at the speed in which we're able to create, build, change, we almost all have to adopt this mentality of like in our role, even if we're selling software, there is a do no harm mentality that we have to start to embrace because everyone is vibe coding on their own. I mean, I'm a theater major, marketing person turned production, company
Amazing.
owner. But my whole point is like, I'm creating apps on the weekend. Like what?
It's crazy.
Like it's wild.
Yeah.
And so I think the awareness of what you're talking about is so critical for us to not head down that direction of what you're.
I totally agree. And I think like appreciate the position we're in. Not everybody lives in this all day.
Yeah.
And make sure you take time to educate those who do not live in this, so the realities of this to kind of move them along that learning curve.
Yeah. Well, leaning more into this, let's talk about a belief that you've held around sales and marketing that you held maybe 5 years ago that you've completely abandoned.
Yeah, I would say the advantages of specialization within roles. Thanks to the work of perhaps Aaron Ross in Predictable Revenue 20 years ago, he was the first SDR manager at Salesforce and really inspired a movement towards specialization. In the 80s and 90s, we had one role and it was salesperson. They generated the meeting, they sold the meeting, and they serviced the customer. And we benefited greatly from specialization. I think we went too far in a lot of cases, but for the most part, specialization enhanced go-to-market engines. And I do believe that's going to reverse dramatically. I think like there's always a pro-con. With specialization, you can deploy the right talent to the right spot. You can deploy the most important talent to the most important spot, but it comes with a cost with the customer and the handoff, and it comes with a managerial cost of aligning all the functions. And I do think with AI, they can elevate an everyday human, an average human, to be able to do all those roles adequately, such that the advantages of a full cycle salesperson offset a specialization team.
Okay, give me what's one way you're using AI for like personal use?
Oh, geez, there's a lot. just preparing for my day, I like you would wake up to 12 meetings that were booked a month ago, and I have no idea who these people are. And my normal routine would be to check like my email to see like how this meeting was set up, look them up on LinkedIn to find out where they went to school and what their activities are, check our local affinity database to see if they're an investor in my fund and what companies they're involved in. And I just have a model that just has that whole paper ready for me. It looks at my last 10 emails and summarizes it and gets me ready for that call. I also have a portfolio company preparation skill, because normally what I would do in advance of a board meeting is I would not only go through the board deck, I'd go through all of the granola or Fathom discussions that we had in the last quarter. I would go through all of the performance financial data on that on that company. And I always have to look through the lens that we have uniquely at stage 2 around retention and lead indicators retention. And I have a model that just like runs that whole analysis for me and presents to me the whole so I can go into that meeting. I still do a lot of the work, but it helps me hone in on the issues much more quickly.
So that was all work. Give me one,
Non-work.
Give me one mark at home.
Yeah. I built a skill. My boys are going to college and they both take some medications, and it's really bad if they miss them. So I built a app using AI that notifies them when it's time and notifies them and their mother and me every half hour if it's not taken. Wow. And they have to take a picture of it in order to prove it. And then it gives us a 5-day notice when a refill is needed, so that they need to grow up. Yeah. I can't micromanage them. Sure. But there's certain things that you want to stay close to. So that would be a personal use.
That's awesome. So leaning into tech and all the things we're talking about, and us actually trusting AI to do these things you're talking about, that's a very important thing that you just described. What does trust over tech look like?
This is one of the reasons why I love Perplexity for my research. So I think like most people who've dug into AI are using different foundational models and LLMs for different purposes. I haven't really like got into Gemini yet. I found like I love OpenAI and ChatGPT for generation, content generation. I love Claude for like workflow, automation and model building. And I love Perplexity for research for this reason, which is they are so aggressive and precise around sourcing their findings. And so like many people argue that the media, and this would include social media, is the major driver of our division in society today. And it's not an easy fix. At the end of the day, we need to almost factualize perspectives and the information that's getting out there. But how do you do that?
Facts over feelings.
Yeah, it's just like, if we built
perception is reality.
Exactly. And like if we built a model that supposedly factualized this, there's always going to be a bias. So
it's built in.
Exactly. Yeah. So like that's our individual requirement as species on this earth, is we have to aggressively understand where these perspectives are coming from and understand the facts. And I think that is like one of the first principles of this trust in an AI era is, that's why I like Perplexity as an example, is because I can really double click into the source by which the model has this perspective.
I think that one of the biggest challenges we have right now is no one has an agreement on what truth means.
Exactly.
And I think it's different because we all have now a moral compass that is now different. And so it's like, who's in charge of truth? And then if AI is giving us different perceptions on top of that, then you still have a human curating that. And
who knows?
Who knows?
It's like, it's really like, I know I try to draw a parallel to the early internet age where everyone's like commerce, brick and mortar is going away, clicks, like everything. But like no one trusted putting their credit card into a website.
Yeah.
And I think it was VeriSign that eventually got sold to one of the bigger ones. But they were like the main breakthrough was like, as long as you saw the VeriSign sticker, they stood by your credit card would not get stolen. And that was a huge breakthrough.
They guaranteed.
But I don't, they guaranteed it.
Yeah.
But I don't like, you can't really have you can't guarantee that this is factual or right.
Right.
Because it depends on so I think it really is one of those areas where in the same way that as citizens we should vote and we should participate in local government and we should serve on juries. We need to be very aggressive around just fact checking where we're getting our information to stand by.
That's a bigger problem
Yes.
for us to solve than our fun conversations here is. But I will ask you one final question.
Cool.
What is one go-to-market timeless principle that AI can't replace?
So I'll even broaden that out to like what jobs may persist for humans.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of thinking about that in the spirit of not bringing a harmful tech to society. I've always been on board with politician. I don't think we should have a lot of AI politicians or any. I do think like humans will always be able to outcreate AI. I think put like Ed Sheeran and Taylor Swift in a room creating music. I think they will get in the top 10 more often than an AI creator.
Yeah, they have a soul.
Right, exactly. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
it just uses past information, and like there's something about the brain on
Yeah.
creativity with movies and books and
Yeah.
sports for sure. You know, like
AI isn't a creator. Either.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we will forever be there. And the other area to
that,
get to your answer is what I'd call human in a loop will persist forever. Technology has been able to fly planes for decades, but pilots still sit there. They just want someone there just in case. And in 10 years, I am totally fine having brain surgery with an AI neurologist, but I want a human in there. And when I sign and buy $1 million of software from a vendor, I'm fine with the AI buyer buying from the AI seller, but I just want to shake a human's hand to say that they stand by it. So that would be my answer to go to market is there will be human in the loop for that trust.
Love it. Anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Okay.